So if a bar or a restaurant serves someone too much to drink, and that person gets visibly drunk and drives off and causes a terrible car accident, you may be able to sue the bar or the restaurant, and that is called a dram shop lawsuit. So what is a dram shop? Well, in American law, we based all of our law on the law of England. Pre-revolutionary times, the common law, British common law, that's the foundation of the American legal system. So dram shop is just an old British term for a place that sells booze, alcohol, wine, whatever. So bars, restaurants, liquor stores, hotel restaurants, you may be able to sue these people if they serve someone too much to drink. Now, what do you have to show? In Tennessee, the key is you have to show that the person was visibly intoxicated, and you have to show that by clear and convincing evidence. So there's obvious signs of visible intoxication, right? Stumbling around, slurring speech, boisterousness, violence, anything that would suggest someone has had too much alcohol. But to understand clear and convincing evidence, we need to put that in the context of what you would normally have to show, which is what's called a preponderance of the evidence. And that is usually the standard in civil lawsuits. And that just means more likely than not. So if you have a 50-50 situation and you put a feather on the scale, you've tipped the balance to more likely than not, you win your case when it's a preponderance of the evidence. The highest standard in all of the legal system is beyond a reasonable doubt, but that's really only when the government is trying to convict someone of a crime. So that's the highest standard. Clear and convincing evidence sits somewhere in between. And clear and convincing evidence means something is highly probable or reasonably certain, or there's no real substantial doubt that this happened. So back to whether the person was visibly drunk, we have to be highly probable, reasonably certain, no substantial doubt of this. It's a very high standard to prove. It's why you don't hear a lot about these cases, but I will tell you a story about how we were able to prove this in a case and how we were able to get a great result for a grieving family. So we had a very tragic case where a man had been drinking too much on a Sunday. He was watching a Titans game at a bar. He drove home. He crossed the center line of a 2-lane highway and hit our client head on and killed her. A very tragic situation. And the drunk driver also died. So we were investigating this and thinking about a case against the bar, a dram shop lawsuit. We went to the scene of the accident on this 2-lane highway, and someone stopped, got out of their car, approached us. He just wanted to talk to us about this because she was so upset about it, because it turns out that she had been at the bar that day, also watching the Titans game, and had seen the drunk driver getting drunk and had noticed that he was really drunk and that he shouldn't have been served what he was served. So we then went to the bar and were able to get the tab. Back in those days, it was like the handwritten bar tab of what he had ordered. And it was obvious that it was enough to make someone drunk. And that established clear and convincing evidence. And we got a great result in that case because we just were lucky that someone had seen this guy in the bar and could attest that, he was slurring his speech, he was drinking too much, he was being too loud for the situation. And that's how you have to prove a dram shop case. You have to prove it by clear and convincing evidence. Dram shop lawsuits are very powerful because they hold bars and restaurants accountable for serving people too much to drink. Especially when they know that person is going to drive. And it's a way to keep our roads safer, keep society safer, and to avoid tragedies that just are completely preventable. So if you think you have one of these cases, you can probably tell by the story that I just told that it's crucial to collect evidence quickly, and it's evidence that might disappear. For example, tracking down someone who was at the bar that day. They may forget, they may be hard to reach. Video evidence, receipts, all these sorts of things to show what happened and to try to meet that high burden of clear and convincing evidence. So if you have questions about dram shop lawsuits, drop them in the comments or contact us directly. There's a link in the description. Watch this next video if you're curious about negligence law generally. Thanks for watching.